That university would serve as a stepping stone to the creation of Bilkent University, the nation's first private, foundation-supported institution of higher education in 1984. What he envisioned was creating a great university, like the great universities in the United States, Harvard, Columbia, and Yale. And he wanted to do this in Turkey. Bilkent itself was made possible by İhsan Doğramacı's work in helping change the legal structure and system of governance of higher education in Turkey. Within these institutions, one could find entirely new methods of medical education, new approaches to college instruction, and most importantly, a commitment to excellence. An excellence that İhsan Doğramacı knew was necessary if Turkey were to be competitive in global commerce and education. This focus on children is critical in understanding the life of İhsan Doğramacı. There are many times when our focus goes solely to the buildings, institutions, and programs he created or helped to create. This obscures the fact that these are in a sense simply symbolic of and were created to support what has formed the core value of his life, a deep love of and concern for children, and a commitment to create a better future for youth throughout the world. It began when, as a youth, he often gave his coats and shoes away to those less fortunate than him, and moved on to the point where he created dispensaries, hospitals, and universities to save, serve, and educate new generations. The title of a book written to honor him best sums this up: Children in his heart, youth on his mind. İhsan Doğramacı has become a living legend in Turkey. Former President Süleyman Demirel has likened him to a national monument. As İhsan Doğramacı worked within the context of a relatively new and evolving Turkish Republic, he and his innovative ideas came to the attention of many governmental and political leaders. By the 1960s, he was held in such respect that he began to be called on for advice and also to assume major political offices. When offered the opportunity for political office, he politely refused. He understood full well that assuming such office might help him effect important changes. But he knew with more certainty that the work he was doing in healthcare and in education would, in the long run, have an even greater impact on his nation. He saw improvements in healthcare and in education as a means of not only helping Turkey itself, but of earning his nation the worldwide respect he knew it deserved. Well, İhsan Doğramacı has embraced change and helped transform his own nation. He remains very true to the traditions into which he was born. The most important of these, in my opinion, is his broad, multicultural vision. At the same time that he was changing medicine and education in Turkey, he was also doing so around the world. The World Health Organization, recognizing the success of his medical and health sciences work in Turkey, asked him to serve as an advisor to similar institutions being established around the world. He spent time at new sites in Nigeria and Cameroon in Africa, and later went to Brazil and Canada to oversee the creation of medical education centers in those nations. His leadership of the International Pediatric Association changed that body into a proactive agency, one that would positively affect the lives of children around the world. His love for children has no national bounds. He has had the courage to take risky political steps to help children in need. He did so, for example, to ensure that children in Cuba would get assistance after a very devastating hurricane. His action in helping found the WHO has been carried on by his commitment to UNICEF. His work on the Turkish Council of Higher Education is mirrored by his work with the Association of European Universities. In a world where some speak of conflicts of cultures, İhsan Doğramacı has helped to establish the International Cultures Foundation in order to establish communication between and across cultures. Where others see boundaries, he sees connections and commonality. Indeed, leaders such as Kofi Annan, the 7th Secretary General of the United Nations, would testify to İhsan Doğramacı's global vision and global impact. Multicultural connection and communication are also at the center of İhsan Doğramacı's deep love of music, which began when he was a child. As a young physician training in Ankara in the late 1930s, he was one of the consistent attendees at concerts at the State Conservatory. Interestingly, another frequent attendee was İsmet İnönü, then President of Turkey. That love of music as an international language was not forgotten as Professor Doğramacı helped change Turkish higher education. The Council of Higher Education promoted music and the creation of conservatories. Bilkent University is the home of the Bilkent Symphony Orchestra and an extraordinary school of music. Indeed, those who sit on the stage of the Bilkent Concert Hall and the repertoire they perform reflect a global vision and a harmony that we all long for. If I were asked by a student for a way in which to grasp the complex relationship between continuity and change in history, I would suggest that she or he study the life of someone like İhsan Doğramacı. If I were asked by another student for a way to understand the complex relationship between national identity and global development, I would suggest that he or she speak with Professor Doğramacı. And if I were asked to name some tangible proof that the past has a relationship to the future, I would point to the life story of İhsan Doğramacı. For it seems clear to me that part of the history of what has occurred and what will continue to occur in medicine, education, and children's welfare, either in Turkey or in other parts around the globe, has its origins in the town of Erbil some 90 years ago.
My friend, I say it clear, I state my case, of which I'm certain. I lived a life that's full, I traveled each and every highway.
Profesör Doğramacı tüm hayatını ve aile bağlarını gelecek kuşaklara, gençlerin eğitim ve yüksek öğrenim imkanlarının daha da geliştirilmesine adamış eşsiz bir şahsiyettir.
Ben kendisini daima bir abide adam olarak görmüşümdür. Kendisi bizatihi heykeldir, canlı heykeldir. O genç yaşında kimsenin reddedemeyeceği bir başbakanlık görevini reddetti.
Hoca Bey bir ilkler